What's up, everyone? We're here. We're live. We're going. Super excited to connect today. This is a hot topic. Let's be honest. Just diving into kind of the landscape of Amazon. What's going on? Some of the big challenges, and super excited to talk through with the Scale team. Tyler, where are you calling in from, man?
Yeah, I'm down in Salt Lake today. I'm usually up in Cache Valley or Logan, but you know how it goes. There's always things to be done down south, and so it's always the joke. You know, a lot of my family's down in Salt Lake, and I feel like I come down to Salt Lake about 3 or 4 times a week. But for some reason, going back north seems a lot farther than going or coming down south. So no, I'm actually, yeah, down in Salt Lake and excited to work in the e-commerce world down here today after the webinar.
Sweet. Salt Lake has a hub. Let's be honest. It's there's a high concentration of brands there, and it's popping off. So I love to see it. Love to hear it. Emerson, how you doing, man?
Dude, alive and well. I am not in an e-com hub though today. I am in sunny Fresno, California. I'm probably the only dude in e-com in Fresno, California. So it's just me and a bunch of farmer dudes out here, really. But love doing these webinars and chatting with brands and people, and love the space. So excited to chat with Tyler and about Amazon. Fun fact: I suck at Amazon stuff, so this is good. I'm not an agency guy. Um, I used to work at a brand called Nomadic based out of Salt Lake area, and they had me do their Instagram page and stuff like that for like 3 days before they're like, dude, stick to ops and supply chain stuff. They're like, we make black bags. Like all of our posts are like, we have black bags. The bags are black and big. Like I'm like, I'm not creative on that side of stuff. Like don't make me be your CPC guy. We'll figure out how to get stuff back to customers. We'll figure out the supply chain stuff. But excited to work with Scale. They obviously know the space really well, so we love leveraging their knowledge and helping scaling the thing on the Amazon side. So excited to chat today on these things.
Totally. Yeah, I prior to like when I started my career in ecom, I was doing Amazon building listings, and back in the day, Tyler, if you remember, you had to like send out the discount codes to get reviews. Remember, like you'd send them out, be like, "Hey, get our product for free and then leave us a good review." Well, me as an intern, college intern, I leaked the discount code list and it got out on the internet and just wiped out all of our inventory in like an hour, and you couldn't get any help. And I think that's one of the most stressed I've been still in my life. But no, love to hear it. Super excited to get into it. And candidly, we feel like we've got some of the best in the game with Scale, like Emerson was alluding to. And I say we get into it, dive into the subject matter, talk about it. But Tyler, passing the mic over to you, would love to get kind of a handle on the Scale experience, what you do. I know you're one of the co-founders over there, and just kind of give us a high level overview of the Scale offering and what makes you unique.
For sure. Yeah, man, it's been, like you said, it's been a wild ride. I've been in Amazon for a long time. The good old days is kind of what you're referring to. I think for e-commerce in general, it's just always evolving and changing. And, you look back at some of the strategies that, we were able to pull off in the past with reviews or whatever it might be, algorithms, and, even just on the e-commerce side. Man, it's fun to look back on those times and wish that we could still pull off some of those things to help products do better these days. And, I think that's obviously what we're here to talk about today, once we get into it. But um, man, it's totally changing. I think, at Scale, we pride ourselves on staying current on everything that we can do. Obviously, we want to be, doing things the right way. We don't want to be putting our brands in jeopardy of anything. So, we're always staying current on what needs to be done and what can be done. That is, you know, able to help our brands grow. We're a full service agency, and it is kind of weird to think that that's a little bit of a dying breed. People are specializing with spend only or, little things here or there on Amazon and just in e-commerce in general. And, it is fun to say like top to bottom, my agency can run everything for our brands that we manage. I think it's helpful for our brands too, right? We can do the ad spend, we can do the compliance. We pride ourselves on being great DSP partners. That's another form of advertising that Amazon offers that not many really know about or have taken advantage of yet. But we can do it all, and we do it. What we feel like we do it pretty well. We've had a lot of success with you know brands like Kizik or True Classic Tees, some of these really, really big brands that people either know locally or nationally. Um, and we've prided ourselves on being the middle-sized agency that's not too big for the small guys and not too small for the big guys. So,
I love it. I love to hear
yeah,
it. We're obviously partnered with True Classic. There's great things being said over there. So we're excited about being able to do this with you. And I would say, just having a pulse, you've got kind of in the e-commerce landscape, you have like D2C specific Shopify pros, and then obviously the Amazon omni-channel component. They're totally different. They have commonalities and obviously vernacular and different things that are shared, but it's a totally different beast in terms of D2C and then obviously on kind of the Amazon side. And Tyler, like your team's put together a slide on just the Amazon landscape, right? Like what are you running into in terms of challenges and what are you thinking in 2025 for brands? Just what's kind of your take on the landscape and what are some common things and how does Scale help in some of those areas?
yeah. Like I mentioned before, it's totally different. It changes every year, and I think every platform does in some way, shape, or form. It's no secret that cost per clicks are just continuing to increase on Amazon, everywhere else. And I think, as other platforms like TikTok continue to develop, they're going to go through those same cycles. Amazon, the landscape that we're looking at now, it's just a much more matured platform than it has been in the past. From a compliance perspective, from an advertising perspective, from a competitive standpoint, I mean, there's millions of listings that are getting listed, every week on Amazon, and it's very, very cutthroat. And I think, what we're seeing now, if you look at, you know, the sellers that are on there, a lot of them now are just direct from the factories that are making these products. And so, they can afford to spend a whole bunch more on advertising than people like you and me would. And so I think that there's tons of strategy that needs to be put in place, and there's differentiation that needs to be put in place by brands here in the States to be able to compete with that. It's nearly impossible to compete on price or margin, and so we need to be able to separate ourselves from a customer service standpoint, from a brand standpoint, from a lot of different ways to be able to compete with those things. In I guess not directly compete with them, but to win in other areas to be able to grow our brand successfully. And so I think that's where people like Scale or groups like Scale and Corso really come into play. Is how can you differentiate your brand? How can you drive awareness and sales in other ways, right? And how do you blend that with what you're doing? Because you obviously can't neglect your ad spend. You can't neglect, having your products on Amazon or in other areas. So
Yeah, I was
yeah,
gonna
it's
I
definitely
was gonna
changing.
say, kind of dovetailing off of that, I'm in some of the big groups with some of the top e-commerce like Slack groups and different things. Shout out W6. And I think a common question that comes up is like, okay, we're having a decent amount of success on our Shopify side. We're looking to migrate. We really want to ramp up kind of the experience on Amazon. I think that's like a pretty common question. Like, we're doing good here. How do we really elevate, what we're doing on the Amazon side? We have a strong brand presence over on the Shopify side and maybe even brick and mortar, what have you. We just haven't been able to nail it. And then ultimately, they're really wanting to provide that brand experience. Some are like hesitant to go to Amazon because, hey, I can't own the brand experience. We really are fixated on making sure that that's awesome on the Shopify side, and it's just tough to do it on the Amazon side. What are some things that you suggest, Tyler, as like people are going, they have a strong presence on Shopify, they're looking to elevate it on the Amazon side? What are some strategies or just some things that you discuss with your clients just around that conversation? Or if they're like, hey, we're really nervous about brand experience on our Amazon side, how can we make it better? What are we doing? What would you say to some of those brands that are asking those questions today?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I think you got to just take into consideration what Amazon is, right? Amazon is it's a search engine, right? And so I think what you're opening yourself up to and your brand up to is not only, obviously, yeah, there's some fear. I think a lot of brands are understanding that Amazon's not gonna, erode their brand by having products on there. A lot of the brands that we work with, they'll either do like a curated product assortment on Amazon so that they're
Mhm.
not like apples to apples, right? Some brands even, Dr. Squatch, for example, they they have a totally separate line of products that they offer on Amazon that they offer from what they offer in like a convenience store or on their direct consumer website. And so I think, you know, those are strategies that we definitely help a lot of our clients out with. And, it goes a long way. I think even if you want to go apples to apples, though, there's a lot of good opportunity that we can help, make sure that you're winning on all of your distribution platforms. And, DSP is a very big one. One of the brands that we worked with and work with currently, we're actually we're using audience data from Amazon and pushing traffic directly to their website. I think that's a huge, huge thing that people don't realize they can do, and vice versa, right? All the traffic or all the abandoned checkouts that are on your website, we can reposition that data and drive them to their Amazon listings. And
Mhm.
so there's a ton of ways that, I think that the two can coexist. And I think more so now than ever, there's referral bonuses that you can get back and get rebates back to offset, fees that Amazon would charge if you're driving traffic to Amazon. And so I think, just as frustrating as it is to have the platform being developed at this point, there are some really, really good tools that we can leverage and utilize to make sure that brands are winning in both places.
That's awesome. Uh, you teed it up. I feel like that's a really good segue. Yeah, getting into kind of the content that you've got, Tyler, and like kind of piggybacking on that, I was asking like, hey, what are some of the top, like the burning questions that, your clients are asking on a regular basis? What does it look like? And I think this is just common across the board. Like us at Corso, we're seeing this very, very similarly. Just like, hey, unit economics matter, profitability matters. We really got to look at every component of what we're doing from a growth perspective operationally. How can we capture more data? How can we be more profitable? And what are some of those things? What are some of the strategies that we're rolling out to do that, right? And so kind of piggybacking on this and just looking at some of those burning questions that you've got, what are you seeing from that perspective, whether it be on the ad side, and us getting into some of the strategies and so forth.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, Emerson's not really in California. He's got a knife held to my back so that I say all the right things here.
You know how I do it.
No. I think, what kind of spawned this webinar in general is, the curiosity from my team reaching out to you guys, and vice versa. I think this is just a really, really cool opportunity that we are excited about with what you guys offer at Corso to be able to really take control of one of the more frustrating things about Amazon, right? And that is, how do you control customer feedback when you have no contact with that customer at Amazon, right? And so, you know, as the slide points out, like I was talking to a client not 2 days ago, and it's like, man, our reviews are terrible. We've made changes. We have great product. We're not represented right by the reviews. We can't restart our listing because then we lose all of our traction. Yet we have this baggage from years past when our product had a few things, wrong with it at that point. And, as a consequence, they kind of have this chain around their neck where they're trying to grow, they're trying to push and promote advertising, and, they just have that baggage from things that they've, made right, moving forward on. And so, they're never going to have as good of a conversion rate or a click-through rate as they would have if they, were able to just coordinate with some of those customers early on and probably change their mind on, the feedback that they're leaving. And so, yeah, the burning question is, yeah, how do we grow profitably when it's so competitive? The cost per clicks are so high, and any wrong move you make, you have no control over, and it hangs over your head for the rest of your life. I mean, there's no question that at least half, if not more, of the people here, listening today, they're having those problems or they've had those problems in the past. And it's really frustrating with how, you can't just resubmit for a new product. Like it just, you're kind of held hostage to it, and it's frustrating. So
Yeah, and then I think just teeing it up greater. I mean, Emerson, really looking to you. You've been in the supply chain world for a long time. Obviously, like let's be candid. Like when we make a product as an e-com brand, you're trying to do everything you can to get a quality product out there. There's headaches, there's issues, there's supply chain issues, there's stuff you can't even intercept, like as you're trying to get that product out the door. Talk us through a little bit of what just the overall experience here and what we're trying to do to bridge really from that Amazon perspective to the kind of the D2C side, being able to hopefully flip some of these or like I said, intercept some of these bad reviews, be able to provide a good brand experience, back the product. And I'd love to just hear some of maybe your experience and things that you've looked at historically at brands you've worked at and some of the feedback that you've got.
Yeah, I think the hard thing about Amazon is like Tyler was saying is you don't own that customer relation. And that's what really kind of like impedes that branding opportunity on Amazon. So it's like how can you bring that branding opportunity onto Amazon? Amazon's done a little bit of stuff like you have your brand store on Amazon a little bit and stuff like that, but that like feeling that customer interaction is kind of stale there. It doesn't let you do too much in on that front. I'll use an example. I went camping a week ago and I bought a camping chair off Amazon. And I guess I'm a big boy and I snapped the legs on the chair. So apparently too big to sit. Should have kept standing. Got to lose a couple more pounds before I can use that chair, I guess. But I would have rather just gotten that fixed or something like that. Instead, I have to like return it. There's not like a good like process to handle something like that happened. Like, was it user error? I don't think so. I think I was just sitting on it. But anyways, I had to return it, and then I was like, I'm not camping right now. If I could have done a warranty replacement or something like that, I would have done that. But they didn't necessarily like offer that as an option through Amazon. You're kind of built into their funnel. Um, and so really it is like, how can you improve that process when something does go wrong? You want to be able to create that communication with the customer. And like you said, like I was trying to even find a way to like chat. There probably is a way to do it, but I don't know, or they don't make it super easy to chat with the seller necessarily through Amazon on it. And also it's a lot easier, even if they're maybe tell you, maybe there is a way to chat with the seller pretty easily on Amazon. I'm not too aware of that. Um, but if it, I was like, I'm just gonna go through the return process and return it, I guess, and hopefully they had like a warranty process, or it was like just ship me, make it like just ship me that part or whatever it was. But I was like, I'm just gonna return it. So it kind of created that barrier there to communicate with the brand. I didn't want to leave a negative review. I didn't leave a negative review just because I understand the ecosystem of it. But um, in what we do here at Corso is first off, we want to be able to capture that first party data to remove that pain point of having to go through the process of going through Amazon by adding something super simple as far as adding a QR code to your product packaging or a hang tag or an insert that goes into your packaging for Amazon. You probably see some people there that on Amazon you get like a handwritten letter like, hey, we're a small startup or whatever it is, like leave a positive review that helps us out. Like people do stuff like that, which I think probably has some good lift on things. It gives you a little bit of that brand touch point, but you still don't have that customer data. But when you have a QR code that says, hey, register this product to activate your 1 year warranty, your lifetime warranty, whatever that is that you offer on your product, you now have built a communication stream with that customer. So now you have a clear, easy way to communicate through your other channels that you normally are operating in, with it through your help desk or whatever it is. You now have that customer data to actually help and resolve those concerns that customer has. So we see that working a lot with brands. We have brands collecting hundreds, thousands of customer emails, data points, first off, of saying, hey, these are customers bought on Amazon. They've registered their product. They're fans. If someone's taking the time to register their product, that's a good customer. That's a customer that is engaged with your brand. They're taking a step to communicate and build that relationship with. So you should treat that as like a VIP customer in that standpoint. So through the Corso platform, we give you that bridge to really connect with those customers, capture that first party data, make it easy if something does happen to the product, so they don't go to Amazon and leave a negative review or whatever it is. It gets them into your system to resolve that claim with you guys in your own in the brand's own system essentially. Not that we're trying to bypass Amazon, we're trying to own that relationship, which Amazon's kind of gate kept from us. And then on that same standpoint is if a customer registers that product, communicate with them before or without there even needing to be a need to fix an issue, is get them into your pipeline and then retarget, remarket to them. Like Tyler was talking about different mediums to either send traffic back to your Shopify site. So maybe this you can turn Amazon into a lead gen, not necessarily lead gen, but like a first touch point maybe with a customer, then build that relationship with them to then come back and shop on your Shopify site or redirect them back to Amazon again. Prime Day is coming up. Send them an email from you guys instead of just to from Amazon notifying them and getting stuck in the Amazon noise. Imagine how powerful that would be is if you have that customer data, hey, this customer, Emerson bought this chair for me a couple months ago. We came out with this cool camping umbrella or whatever it is. He's going to want that. Let's let him know, hey, that's going to be on a Prime deal. Let's email him directly because we have that customer data and send him back to Amazon for Prime deal. Or Black Friday is coming up, shop our Black Friday deals on our website. And then maybe you can have a longer Black Friday sale on Amazon or whatever it is. You can then create those segmentations and really build that relationship with the customer. So with our integrations, once you capture that customer data, you now can communicate with that customer through SendLane, Klaviyo, whatever your email provider is on that standpoint, and segment them and communicate with them that way. Again, I'm more on the operations side. That's my knowledge of SendLane, Klaviyo. Honestly, I'll let the marketers and the Tyler and his team and all the marketers out there that know how to segment a lot better. Again, my segmentation would be like, this is a black bag. Let's let them know we have a bigger black bag, is my knowledge of marketing. Um, but you really
No,
can get into there and streamline it.
I mean, this is huge, right? And I think this is what, my team and myself, we were so excited to hear, how simple it is. And, it just answers so many questions and provides so much, it provides a huge impact for brands because the amount of times I've heard like, oh, well, we need to own our customer data and like all those things. Like Amazon, it's so guarded and all this, whatever. I mean, we've ran campaigns in DSP for certain clients where the only objective is just to get them to the site so that we can collect some sort of data with a pixel, right? Like, we don't even care about return on ad spend. We don't care about anything. And anyone that obviously is in the e-commerce game knows how important that is. And so, this is just such a great way that covers so many things when you're thinking through like your Amazon strategy to be able to provide to your marketing team. It's huge.
Yeah. I think there's twofold. Like just hearing you guys both talk, like something Emerson just barely called out was like, you bought the chair, and I feel like there's still this gap with Amazon. There's like, no knock to the Amazon, but it's just like a little less soul on the Amazon CX side and then more soul on the Shopify side. Like, let's call it like it is. Like a little bit more vanilla,
The chair was
right?
defected. Let's make that be totally clear. That was
I thought I was
100%
losing a weight.
fault, Emerson.
Thank you,
No,
thank you.
it's true. And it's like, how is the best solution in life always to just throw it away or just return it and get a new one? Like, maybe that's just like my grandpa, the echoes of his voice coming out. Well, you could fix that. You don't need to just buy a new one. But no, I think that there is a better way, right? And like that exposure to a customer from your brand is a big, big deal, especially as things are like just getting faster and faster. And like, I mean, we all know, like, you can't even talk to someone overseas on a customer service line anymore, right? And so to have that type of touch with a brand it's going to make an impact for sure.
I agree. And I think about the buying habit of an Amazon. I mean, there are sometimes like you're going to Amazon to get something cheap and effective sometimes, and sometimes you're not. You're buying Dr. Squatch. That's not cheap and effective. Like it's a quality education based sale. Like I'm getting top of funnel ads. I'm like, I know about this thing. I really want it. It's quality. So there's kind of two folds. And I think about, and you called it out earlier, Tyler, like it's a search engine. Like sometimes you just, again, like you're naturally going to Emerson searching for a foldable chair, right? He goes and searches for it. He does a little bit of research on page one, typically, and what has good reviews or whatever, what's a good price. He buys it. And then I think, you're having the dialogue after something goes wrong. Is this junk and someone's going to back this up for me and like provide a good experience? Or is it like this is a quality product with a brand, right? And I think that being able to introduce your customers to your actual brand experience via Amazon can be tricky. Like I think that's just, I mean, we're calling it out and it's been obviously a common topic here, but this is just an easy entry point to be able to say, hey, no, if something goes wrong with this, we're going to back it. Not only are we going to back it, we're going to be able to introduce you to how we do things from a customer support standpoint. And that has a byproduct of like intercepting a potential negative review, as Emerson was kind of calling out. But then again, the growth team's going to be immensely excited to be able to get some of these folks they've never had from like a marketing perspective to actually get enrolled into those triggers, right? And into those Klaviyo flows. And I think just the ability to do that and nurture some of those customers, be able to educate them a little bit more, using a Klaviyo flow, a welcome series, what have you, having unique segmentation, I think is really, really key. And that's kind of how I'm looking at it as you guys both kind of talk about this. It's like, let's provide a better customer experience. Let's say, hey, we're backing the product. There's an actual brand that stands behind this. We're going to take care of you. And then ultimately it dovetails into like a growth opportunity. I think it's wild, Tyler, you calling out that like you've run campaigns just to get people to a site. to fire off that pixel and to hopefully get them to sign up for an SMS or an email form or something. That data is very, very important from like a customer profile perspective. And so you have multiple touch points and multiple upsides in terms of being able to offer this, which I think is unique. So just some thoughts as kind of you're looking to that. And then obviously the supporting slide here, LTV, you know, just being able to keep that loyalty, like, and be able to provide that good experience. We all know, but you have kind of one shot, something breaks, something goes wrong, and then they have a negative experience to get it resolved. It can obviously have a huge impact in terms of LTV and just the future potential of purchases.
Yeah, and
But
I think
yeah, go
too,
ahead.
just on that point, right? Like, how many times have you heard people rave about being taken care of from like a warranty standpoint or a review standpoint? You know, I think of like some of the major companies that do it really well, Costco, for example. You just know that when you buy something from Costco, if anything goes wrong, they're going to make it right. And I think that that just creates so much brand loyalty. And I think another hidden benefit is, you know, my wife or myself, when we have that experience, we're very, very likely to tell how many people about that experience,
Yeah.
right? You know, Emerson's camp chair example, right? If he goes through a process where they're just phenomenal from a customer service standpoint, he is very likely to, you know, next time he's around the campfire with his buddies, oh yeah, see this chair? Like I broke it when I first got it, and then this is what happened from there on. And that's free marketing, right? People are gonna, oh yeah, send me the link to that. That does look like a great chair, you know, or whatever it might be. And so I think that there's that ripple effect that, you know, really is the long term play. And I think, you know, brands here in the US really need to take that into consideration because, you know, the world is evolving. E-commerce is becoming a global thing, you know, with all these other platforms just being able to ship directly over from the factories. And then, you know, all of the, I mean, probably more than 80% of all sellers on Amazon are international at this point. So, how are you going to stand out as a brand? You know, how are
Yeah.
you going to be able to differentiate? It's not going to be on price, and they have just as much ad budget or more um, than we do. So, yeah,
Yeah,
just got to figure it out.
I think it's a good segue. Like a big differentiator is the customer experience, you know, and I think as we look at it from like a Corso perspective, we've really tried to deeply integrate with help desk. Like how easy can, if let's say, you know, there is an issue, whether it be warranty, shipping, what have you, like having that integration and be able to provide that experience directly within whatever the help desk is something that's really valuable. And I know Emerson on like kind of the ops perspective, you know, how much weight do you put into integrations? Like how are you seeing these types of integrations positively impact brands and the way that they're able to provide that experience when something does go wrong?
I mean, as an operator, we love sheets. Like, I'm not sure I met an operator that doesn't love just building their own custom forms and building their own spreadsheets and going from there, but it doesn't talk to anything. So what's great about the Corso platform is we have the registration module. You can capture that information from Amazon. It integrates into Shopify first off. So if someone does file a claim, we want to capture that data for remarketing and retargeting purposes for sure, but also for solutioning this issue when something does happen. So as far as on that standpoint is it integrates with Shopify. So say someone in that chair example, those legs broke. If you have that replacement part in Shopify available, you can then easily click a button and send out that replacement part alone just to that customer or a whole new chair if you need to, as well as integrating with your help desk. So when someone does register and they reach out to you, it's going through your normal flows. It's not like you have to go into this other chat bot, this other platform to do something with it, whatever it is. the Corso platform integrates with your help desk. So if someone is emailing in, asking questions, you can easily file a claim within the tech support platform that you use. And what I also would highlight is data on the marketing side is important, but also operationally, you can also take a look and see, for example, maybe you have a widget that has replaceable parts or wear and tear. So maybe there's like a gasket or something like that in a product, and you can gather data and say, hey, after 2 years of use, this gasket is going to wear down and they should get a replacement. So you could then proactively send out a campaign saying like, "Hey, I know you've had this product. This gasket's going to wear down. Your treads on your e-bike are going to wear out after a certain amount of time. Let's send them a retargeting campaign like, hey, here's a deal on your next pair of tires that you need or whatever it is." So you can retarget, resegment them, so you can capture that data and just know like, hey, people are filing claims at about this point for this issue happening. Can you be proactive and let them know like, hey, after a year and a half of using this bag, this might happen. This is how you can take care of your zippers. After X amount of years with this bike, this pedal's going to wear down. Let's do this. After a couple of years of this, whatever it is, you can really gather that data to understand your product better, to improve your design and performance of that product, as well as improve that customer experience of like, hey, we know this is an issue or this is going to happen. Let's remarket, resegment that, and get that customer taken care of before it becomes an issue for them. So I would say we see this a lot, but primarily with hard goods. Um, this industry does really well in that you can do it with different types. There's different ways of why you might want to capture information. I would say if you do have something that has like lot numbers or batch numbers, the registration module can be good for tracking information of if a bad batch is gone. So it's like, hey, register your product if it's in the cosmetic apparel, cosmetic industries and things like that. If you're in the hard goods side of things, it's like, hey, register it to activate your warranty. You can use it for different touch points for whatever it is. If it is for a registration for a warranty, you just want to capture that data to be able to solution that customer's concerns in the future. But I would say primarily a lot of hard goods. We do a lot of luggage, e-bikes, electronics, um, different widget electronic components, things like that. It does really well in those industries as a whole.
Totally.
That Emerson, I'm not sure if you saw Karen's chat, but I think you kind of
Yeah.
answered it, whether you saw it or not.
Yeah.
Maybe you're probably, but yeah,
Yeah.
she
No,
was asking basically what you're saying. So
I'm not familiar what VMS is, but we could do that. But yeah, as far as consumables, yeah, consumables of vitamins, minerals, yeah. So in that situation, if you have like lot numbers, you could use it like, hey, register your product. I'm trying to use the right terminology, not for recalls or anything like that, but just for like product
I'll say
notifications on
like,
things or any other notifications. Yeah.
yeah, what I've seen is on the vitamins, mineral supplement side. Same with makeup, like cosmetics, we're seeing it, but like a product guarantee. So essentially with Corso, let's say like you have a vitamin and it's a, let's say a liquid vitamin, and you have a 30-day product promise. I think like the term that you're seeing is like product promise or something like that. Being able to leverage this, we're like, hey, register your product so that you can take advantage of the product promise. Like, we need you to register so that we know that you purchased it. Here's a proof of purchase, etc. But then on that product promise, you can set up an actual automation window, like 30 to 45 days, to allow for a customer to essentially say, hey, I didn't like it. Like within the 30 days or 45 days, and there's an issue with it, with actual data, with like a registration component as well as like the warranty. It could be a product promise or just the ability for a customer to be able to say, I didn't like the flavor, I didn't like this, I want to either ship it back or keep it. But you as a brand being able to track that, right? Like, hey, this particular lot or batch of products is not tasting good. We got to share that communication back. Is it centralized to this particular lot, or is it just the individual doesn't like the flavor or what have you? But setting up those components within Corso, definitely we can. And we're seeing brands lean more towards that product promise type of language, and setting that up within a platform like Corso, just to be able to automate that. And Emerson, that's kind of what I've been seeing as of late.
That was great. No, that's a great feedback on that.
So I think we're up on time. I think we're just like jamming.
We've been
There's
chatting.
a lot of good stuff. And Karen, I hope that was helpful. That's typically what we've been seeing is just kind of a 30 to 45 day product promise and being able to back that up, whether you want the customer to keep the product or ship it back, but just giving them the ability to do that and having registration be kind of the trigger. So, but yeah, going back to it, I mean, I think I would just like to kind of cap off the conversation and just essentially, if anybody's watching in terms of the webinar, just kind of what some value, some offer from the Corso side and the Scale side. We would love for folks to try this registration component. But yeah, Emerson, just some thoughts in terms of like a last minute takeaway or something that we can offer to anyone watching.
Yeah, I mean, love working with the Scale team. Excited about this partnership to help more agencies and Amazon sellers continue to scale and grow and capture that data. So love to help you guys out with our partnership with Scale. We help these brands get set up on a registration module. The great part about it is Corso has a whole suite of products from order tracking to shipping protection, delivery guarantee. The registration module, returns, exchanges, warranty management, etc. So anything post-purchase, we'd love to help brands out and love that we can work with Scale and leverage their knowledge to help you brands grow their Amazon strategy. So love to chat with any brands with these pain points that are looking to improve their post-purchase experience on Amazon or on Shopify and help them out. So excited to connect. But yeah, to either most people should have my email from the invites that got sent out, so feel free to respond. Ehammer@corso.com. Love to help you out, or message me on LinkedIn, Emerson Hammer on LinkedIn. I'd love to connect and chat, and we'll send a post follow up with this recording and our contact information as well.
Cool. Tyler, I want to give you a shout out, man. Like, thank you for making time. Honestly, it's been rad to hang and learn a little bit more about Scale. I have a handful of brands that I've sent over your way that have been excited with the conversations and just super pumped to have you. And I want to personally give a plug for Scale. Like, they're doing great things and adding a tremendous amount of value to brands. So hit them up for sure. But yeah, Tyler, thanks for the time today. And yeah, we'll get the follow up and the emails sent out after with the recording, and connect with Tyler on LinkedIn, connect with Emerson, and hit us up if you have any questions. But appreciate it,
Thanks.
guys.
Thanks for having me.